You got Ramage.
Yeah,
Ramage.
Brian. You know Brian Ramage? Yeah, right. Ramage Inc. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, I know him because of that, because he was joining the band.
Yeah.
We played them in Scotland at Garage. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Well, you would have had the garage yep. That's one of the bigger venues.
Yeah. We played there a couple of times with the stairs.
Great venue, actually.
Yeah, very nice.
Oh, the cat house.
The cat house, that was
cat house. Just when you said, as soon as you mentioned the stairs, I remember because I commented on that post about playing Glasgow with the stairs.
Yeah.
That I played there with my old punk band back in the early 2000s, and it's a fantastic venue, but if you don't have roadies to carry your equipment up those stairs,
horrible,
you are going to be shattered.
You'd think they would implement lifts or elevators.
You would think.
Because there's so many, there is so many bands playing there these days that you would think, just get them and set a lift.
Put in an elevator, please.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's a great venue, though. I mean, it is worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing is, like, just try to get on stage from the side. That's the limit. Yeah. There's not much room over there. That's the whole thing.
No, there wasn't much room. It was a really small stage.
Yeah.
But it's a great place to play, though. It was a nice atmosphere, great crowd. Even though there were only 5 people when I played there, but literally 5 people.
Oh, yeah.
That's all that showed up.
Oh,
it was still a great gig, though. It was still a great gig, but yeah.
5 persons.
In fact, funny story, the guitarist, he had borrowed a guitar. It was one of the other times, it was the second time we played the Cat House. He'd borrowed a guitar from someone from one of the other bands that were playing. And he went to put on the guitar round his neck, and the strap wasn't properly connected to this other guy's guitar, and the guitar just dropped to the floor, like literally as we were about to start playing. And he just sat there and he looked out and he's like, we're supposed to be this big hardcore punk band, you know, big. He drops the guitar and he goes up to the mic and he's like a little mouse and he's like, sorry guys. And then halfway through the gig, decides to start throwing out little chocolates. Like, this is a good idea, a punk gig. They get thrown right back at us. As soon as they went out, they were flying back at us. And it was great fun, though.
Yeah, those things can happen.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
Yeah. We also had one gig where Joe... I'll never forget that. They were headbanging, and our bass guitar was right next to him. Head was like really close to his actual head, Joe's actual head, and he just kept on banging, and then eventually his hair got stuck into the head of the bass.
Oh no!
Completely tangled in there, and they were like, "Oh crap!" So they had to walk back.
Oh man!
Try to tackle him. We're like, okay, well, maybe let's stop for a while and then just go on. Other occasion in London, I was with our farewell tour. I also got like in a little fight with our bass player.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in the underworld Underworld. Yeah, the Underworld in London. We
Yeah.
played there, show, fantastic, and one of our last songs, I was hat banging like that, and he came back with a swing at the right moment. I was just going down with my head like this, and I just pow right with the same thing with his head from bass guitar, just poof right in my head. I was like, poof, and I instantly reacted and just pushed, like hit him on the chest because I was like, what the
Nice. That's hardcore.
yeah. Like, oh my god, my lungs. I was just a reaction. Oh, my head.
Oh man.
Those things happen.
These things do happen though, yeah. Especially on the smaller stages.
Yeah.
You know, because you're so confined. You know, you've got to get like 4 or 5 guys up there and all the equipment, including a full kit, full drum kit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially see if I
yeah.
was building
So
one.
of course it's going to happen.
Yeah, but the thing is, like
Yeah.
those. The other hand, those gigs are like memorable because the
Yeah,
venues are in name are quite big, but the venues itself are quite small.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
even more legendary kind of, and just never
Yeah. And
those shows.
it's a bit more intimate as well when the places are smaller, you know.
There, people right
Yeah.
in your nose.
Yep.
It's like it's like if a band became that big, right, you would remember the shows that they done when they were like maybe 10, 100 people, but once they get to about 60,000 a show, you basically that just falls out of memory. Because it's like,
Yeah.
I've been to see them, but
There's this metal bar in Holland, in Leiden, which is in the south, in the west of Holland. That's where I used to live back in the day, and I always came to that bar to drink in, and we also played there with my old bands. And then every year there was this festival called Rock Block, which is pretty cool. A lot of bands, but also back in the day, Volbeat, before they blew up, and they were just playing on a small stage, and everybody were crazy because they were like regulars playing on in that bar, and they just played every year. They came back just to play because they had a really good relationship with the bar and with the guys, and it was just seeing them just play there. They were all really just absolutely musically too big to play there, but it was just great fun, and everybody had a great time. And I think a year later, they just blew up and played like huge stadiums tours and everything.
Yeah, they took off so quick.
yeah.
And I don't even know what happened to them now. Did it break up, or I don't even know.
Still going as far as I know because the old bass player from my last band, he's a huge Volbeat fan. Shout out to Darren. But he's a massive Volbeat fan, and as far as I know, they're playing here in February or March
But
next year.
it'll have to be a stadium
Well,
though.
I think it is. It's pretty much a stadium size venue that they're playing. But they're another band that I'm not too fussed on them, but I like how they kind of cross genres, you know, into their stuff. You know, like you guys have done. You bring lots of genres in and make it work. You know, you can't pinpoint a particular genre, but it just works. Everything just works in unison really well.
Yeah.
But, so what's how did you? I mean, you said you went to the music academy in Tilburg. How did you have any one thing that helped you perfect that style that you have? You know, this, like you said about the screaming, and you know, the screaming in with a melody, because I think I said to you earlier on, you're one of only 3 that I can think of vocalists that actually do that. Yourself, Devin, and Mike Patton.
Yeah.
There are very few
Yeah. But
that actually
so,
get that high, but to be able to get that high and actually have a tune, a
yeah.
melody carry over it as well, it's unique, really unique. But how did you perfect that?
Don't cast out Phil Anselmo. He also does that because
Well, that's true, but I mean, I would class him more of a growl.
yeah,
It's a he's guttural, but
yeah. But if you listen
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, actually, yeah, I know what you mean because he done it on
like
Cowboys.
influence in my approach of screaming, and because
Yeah,
that guy, man, Jesus Christ, he had pipes, still,
yeah, yeah.
but back in the day, his vocals were crazy insane. The clean singing was absolutely fantastic on the first
Oh
two
yeah, yeah.
Cowboys from Hell. And Jesus,
Medicine Man,
yeah,
Medicine Man. Some of the notes he hits on that track are ridiculously high, ridiculous.
he started out like a little band dish, and then
Yeah,
later
yeah. The
perfect.
hair metal.
Yeah. So that like he was also a big influence in my vocal screams and how to approach it, the roughness, the toughness of screaming. Because I really like that just in your face, like he's the don't give a fuck. Like just that's what I like. Just the to just sound real, like not like just a made up voice. There are so many vocalists out there who just do a voice because it sounds raw, but it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you want really want
There's a
to.
lot of stuff that starts. A lot of stuff nowadays is very, very samey
Mm, yeah,
vocally. The one I don't know if you've noticed yourself, but there's a lot of bands that are doing this, the guttural growls, and it
yeah,
sounds like they're growling down a tube.
yeah. It's
You
insane.
know,
The guy from Lorna.
everybody's doing that same thing now, and it's just it's getting old.
I can't do that. What they do, I can't. I just can't because it's like it's just a.
Well, it
It's
takes
like
skill, obviously, yeah, yeah. But I mean,
I also
it's
follow
just
I follow this guy called David Benitez.
Hmm.
He has this Extreme Vocal Institute, and he shows how to do it. And he also had like he's a coach for all the other bigger bands who do this typical style. But I'm just observing. I'm like, wow. So I've never tried it, or maybe not yet. Maybe I wanted to try it just to expand even more, just to see how far I can go. But for now,
yeah,
I feel like what is my range and how far it is, and the highness and lowness, and but it's something I really still want to explore because it's cool to find your just surpass the boundaries you already have.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
these guys sometimes just sound like monsters. Like what? Sometimes I
yeah,
see
yeah.
videos from two guys just screaming next to each other, just taking turns, and they sound like, whoa,
See,
how?
I mean, it's nothing new as well because I mean, I don't know if you'll remember Macabre.
Mm-hmm.
That old band, they used to do a lot of the pig
Yeah,
squeal
I
sound.
can't do that.
They done a lot of that stuff.
He mixed
And
up
this,
because there was this vocal take of Lorna Shore live, and
yeah, yeah,
I was like, what? He just pushed it everywhere. It goes really low, and his his own speaking voice isn't that low. He's
yeah,
at a
yeah,
normal tone in it's just like a mid tone in his vocals. But when he starts to scream, and then the diversity in what he does is like it's like you can almost hear the elastics in his vocal cords go.
yeah, yeah.
Oh God, name how
It's
not
just
human
I mean,
anymore.
it does take talent, but I mean, it's this goes actually goes back to another question that we were going to ask, but it seems that is getting used a hell of a lot now. That really guttural cupping the mic almost sound, you know, that, and I know they're not cupping the mic. It's that it is all done using
Yeah.
the lungs, the breathing,
Yeah.
even the shape of the tongue and the mouth shape matters to how that sound's going to sound. But it's just getting overused in metal these days, I think.
I think with,
There's not enough diversity in the vocal styles. Sorry, dude, go on, you go.
I think in that one it's really band specific though, because there's some ones that when they do it, that's what they do and that's what they do well, and there's other ones that will just naturally like walk just into it and then walk back out of it, that kind of thing. Whereas
Yeah, it's like it's what they're known for.
it's
Yeah,
a very to kind of put a kind of genre on it, it's very kind of metalcore though to do it, and then have the
Yeah.
kind of formula for metalcore has always been you. Well, what I think the formula is for it anyway, it's always dark growls for your verses and choruses are straight, almost higher pitched clean. That's the way that's
Yeah.
always kind of been. It goes that way, and sometimes, even sometimes like deathcore sometimes does that too. So it's that way that it is predominant now, and I think until like the kind of core side of it goes away, that's what it's going to stay.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Every time.
And that goes. Sorry, dude, go.
No, I tell you what I said. Like every time there's like a kind of a genre that just goes up and goes down and goes up, and now it's deathcore kind of bands which are just popping up again.
Yeah.
They're always they've always been there, but now just popping up again, like they're sticking their heads out and
Yeah.
it goes like that. And that also has the typical. Actually, it's if you think about it, it's almost grindcore-ish, like the vocals as well.
Mhm.
Think about how styles, it's almost grindcore.
Yeah.
It's also like the strange kind of macabre kind of vocal style.
Yeah.
Though it does always feel like it's every 5 years there's always like a new genre that leads the way, and then it auto rotates every about 3, 4, 5 years. So and say now in 2026 when that comes around, something else will be at the top. Because at the moment it's kind of death. Well, Lorna at the moment are winning everything left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
But it's going to come to that way where it might be, say for example, the next Trivium that wins, the next Metallica, the next Ginger, then even the next, say for example, who would be good? Epica or something like that. Nightwish, Epica, one of them. It's just going to auto rotate again the next kind of 4 or 5 years.
Every time.
And like you said, Daniel, it's not even that these guys disappear. It's just that the attention kind of shifts away from them for a while, and these guys are still grinding away in the background.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the attention shifted to something else at the time, but yeah.
It's almost generational.
Yeah. I think that it's like I said earlier on, the stuff that I'm really loving these days, and it's one of the reasons that I think this album that you guys in Crown Compass have done is had such an impact when I first heard it, is because you can't pin any one genre on it. It's just, it has just the best of everything. It's got a bit of everything in it, and it works so well together. You know, you have really heartfelt, almost ballads like in Send Your Words. I mean, that is just beautiful. And then it just leads into Ectasis, which is just like an onslaught. And it is just, it literally is like the best roller coaster ride. It's just up and down and twists and turns. But you can't pin a genre on that, and that to me is the mark of good musicianship and good, you know, incredible writing, vision as well, and ability. Because I mean, it's to get all those different genres to work as one. It's, how the hell did you guys do that?
Well, as I said, it's all in Joe's head.
Yeah.
Mind map, which just flew out and just it on a record. Combined it and pushed it there. But he was already been writing for that those songs. There actually are some stuff which was supposed to be on a Textures record.
Right. Okay.
Some riffs, some things which were potentially for Phenotype as well, but they didn't make it.
Yeah.
And as we lit up, Joe just decided to take his ideas and it's like, yeah, the idea is good enough, it's great, so I'll just use it for this album.
So that
yeah,
that kind of makes me wonder, what's next?
what's
Have
next?
you thought about what are you guys already thinking about what's next?
We're already writing, actually. So
Ah,
there's also already some ideas which we're working out. Not really already from start to finish songs, but just pieces. And
awesome.
it's
Awesome.
definitely going to be different than this album.
I wouldn't expect it any other way.
Thing is, like what we noticed with this album, which the diversity is really cool, and especially for a first album, that's good just to show everyone what you're all about. But the only that is, and especially with the Corona, the COVID situations,
Yeah.
a lot of venues don't are a little bit skittish. Like we don't know how to put it or where to put that down, or so
Yeah.
it goes all over the place. And I understand. We understand that, and it's just you want to play as well. So
Yeah.
so we decided just to maybe just get a little bit more wave direction, just to
Yeah.
net a little bit out, and then we can implement those songs from the first record, also with the second record, and then just have an even balanced set list.
Yeah.
So for live, it just goes. You have a good, solid set.
So you're basically already writing with a plan for how it's going to sound live. So are you writing the album specifically for touring?
Yeah, that's good. That's actually what we're a little bit doing right now. Doesn't mean that we're really not gonna push back for with ideas. It's just gonna be a little bit more easier to handle for a lot of people because it is a lot. We really acknowledge that because for a lot of people, like this record is fantastic, but wow, I really have to sit back, just take it all in.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
it must be frustrating for some people, that I know there are a lot of metalheads out there that would maybe they want it just straight down the line. I want something just to keep pounding away. I want it to chug all the way through, and when they hear something like this, it's like, it's like, they can't comprehend what's going on, it's...
But I do admit I said this does take sometimes a few lessons before you actually you're sitting there, you're listening, going, this is great. It's just like a math equation. Then you just sit and every time you listen to it, you just focus on a certain bit by bit. There's like it's like a song with 7-8 chapters in it. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
It's like that to some people might be a bit too kind of complex or complicated, but at the same time, it's just
we know
it's just literal genius.
It is. It really bloody is. I mean, honestly,
we are musicians. We love to do that, but we also know that a lot of people who are not musicians and just like to listen to music, can't always comprehend what's going on, and it's in and in a way, it's like it is musicians' music. That is true. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
And
so you want it to be more accessible, but I mean, I like how you've done. You haven't done what a lot of bands do, which is you have this opportunity to record with a label,
yeah.
and the label will maybe put pressure on you to do what they want,
Hmm.
which is make it accessible right now, and then 4 or 5 albums down the line, then you do what you guys want. You
Yep.
know, then you do the album that's full of twists and turns and varied genres. You know, you
Yeah.
guys have basically stamped, you know, put a stamp on it, and you've said, no, this is what we are capable of. This is what we want to do. This is who we are.
Yeah.
But we're still gonna, you know, we know you guys like this, so we're still gonna do this as well. You know, but we really need to get this out of our heads first. You know, I like that. I like that.
It is in a way a bit like that what you're saying right now. It also didn't actually help to get a record deal because we really try to join a few labels. We like
Yeah,
the usual suspects like Nuclear Blast, which we are signed to with Texas, of course. We're
yeah.
still. But
Ah,
it was too much. They changed like different label managers, which is possible, you know. And it was like mid COVID time, so we understand that. And all the other labels, they just didn't feel like, oh yeah, we we're willing to sign you guys because yeah, we don't know where this is going.
yeah.
So
Like you were saying about taking it out on tour. You know, like who do you put you guys on the bill with?
and in the end,
That's
it's all
going to
about
work well.
money. To be
You
fair,
know,
we
I
understand
mean,
that.
it happened with Queen. It happened with Queen
Yeah.
with Night at the Opera. You know, that album, the label didn't know how to market it
Mhm.
because to them it just sounded insane. You know, because you've got one song that's old 20s style barbershop quartet music, and then the next song's out and out rock and roll, and then it goes orchestral, and the label's just like, come on, guys, pick a genre so that
Yeah.
we can
No,
actually
but
market it.
about that album is fantastic, but it is musicians' music, not at the opera.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That is true.
But to a label, they hate it
Like this was
because they don't know how to
yeah,
market that.
exactly. And as what I said earlier, it's all about making money. A label has to make money.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah. It's just a business.
yeah.
You can't sell it.
What do you guys actually sit and listen to? I mean, you said like you don't necessarily listen to a lot of metal nowadays because that's that's for this over here, and I know what you mean. If you're doing something every day, all day, if you're out on tour, you maybe want to step away from that. So so you were saying you were listening to a lot of classical stuff as well, and maybe, I mean,
More.
are all the guys like that, or
Yeah,
some
we,
of them
we
are
all listen
just
to
out and
those
out
guys.
metal all the time?
Well, it depends on the mood, huh? So one time you do listen to music like some guys are like really psychroptic and those kind of heavy technical bands.
Yeah,
So that's cool, but not for me necessarily.
yeah,
So we all do listen the guys really listen to metal, but it's on occasion.
yeah,
So it's one day that, and then another way, maybe music styles. It's for me, it's the same. I only just not prefer to listen to metal that much anymore.
yeah,
Like, yeah, but there are a lot of bands I really like to listen to, but not on occasion. Yeah,
yeah. I think that would probably help with the writing as well. helps you keep bringing new influences in as well, new sounds. Like you were talking about the keyboard player in
Yeah,
Textures before, about how he used to sample everyday sounds.
yeah,
You know, that's bringing new stuff. That's bringing new concepts in all the time. But
yeah,
he's not necessarily focused on metal. He's only thinking of the sonics.
Hmm.
You
exactly.
know, coming at it from a frequency point of view
Yeah.
rather than
And his own
I
guitar.
have to have this sounding metal constantly. You know,
The funny thing is, like he's originally he is a really black metal guy, or he's
right?
insanely crazy about black metal. Dimmu Borgir is his one of his top favorites. Like yeah, huh? And band from Sweden. As I said, my naming brother Alexa, the guitarist. Give me technical band from what is the band called again? Guitarist slash singer is deceased a short time ago, a couple of years ago.
Oh, Children of Bodom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He was a really
Yep.
big Bruno Bottom fan. He was insanely crazy about them, and also like the keyboard
Yeah.
style, and that's what his techniques were. It was like,
Oh yeah. I
yeah,
don't blame him for that because it's
you can
just
hear it.
incredible, that stuff.
His previous band, I also um, I filled in for them as well, and actually we won
Ah,
a big contest in Holland with that band. That is
right.
really near dim, like Children of Bottom kind of music, and
Yeah, yeah.
great band. They split up a while ago, but now he's really into electronic music, and
Mm.
he has his own.
I've kind of done that as well. I'm stepping away from metal
Yeah,
mostly. I don't. I'll still listen to it, but I don't necessarily play it a lot anymore. But
I'm
I
gonna do a
like.
name dropping. I'm gonna do a name. This project is called Elodin. Elodin.
Okay. There you go, folks.
There's some new stuff.
Elodin. Awesome.
Okay.
Really good. He's doing
I
that with
will
a
be checking that out because I love electronic stuff.
yeah.
What do you think of the metal industry nowadays compared to like? Because obviously you said that you were in '90s. You know, if you were in you would have been in high school in the '90s. I'd imagine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
yeah. Same genre. So you know, we're talking death metal, like Death,
Yeah. Death. I wasn't really
Cannibal
into back
Corpse,
then. Yeah.
Obituary.
Yeah.
You know,
I
so
really started out listening to hard, like the harder style, because when I was young, I was a huge Michael Jackson fan.
yeah.
Yeah, huge. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be everything he was. Now, not now.
Most
Okay.
kids back then did.
Yeah, and then eventually I through the brother of my best friend back then when I was like 10 or 11, no 9. I discovered Guns N' Roses, and I was
Yeah.
instantly hooked. I was like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yep.
Fantastic, and it was like the first band because of the heaviness and the rawness and everything. They pushed like the Appetite for Destruction, and I remember
Yep.
the Terminator song, "You Could Be Mine." I was like, "Wow, it's insane! What's happening here?" And then I was constantly just threw Michael Jackson out of the window and
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
bandana on. Let's go.
That's
And that was my starting point of like really listening to heavy music.
I think that's the
Yep.
thing with metal is everyone's journey into it is totally different. But at the
Yeah,
same time, you
Yeah.
usually always meet at some point and in the middle at some point. Like for example,
Yeah.
you would say someone would be listening like Pavarotti 1 minute, and then someone else would be listening to ABBA. Once they get into
yeah,
metal, the lines will align at some point. There will be one band that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
makes them align, and it's just crazy. Because like
yeah.
I like you probably know, like I started off by Green Day, then
Hmm.
went on to metalcore, then discovered symphonic metal, which was totally out of the blue. It's something I would never thought I would like, but at the same time, it's like Big G was like metal then punk.
Yeah.
It's like it's just everything's just different for everyone, but there's always somewhere where you will align.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
when you're like there's one new genre coming in. That's what picked me up as well. It's the same with the new metal stuff. Like, whoa, what's going on? Like Korn and Deftones and all those bands. Like, what the hell is this? And I was really hooked on that style as well because I really liked the crossover styles they pushed in and just made it even harder. Their first album of Korn, insanity. It's like
It
crazy.
really was insane.
Yeah.
The one that got them noticed. It's an insane album.
Korn is till this day. It goes all over the place. The same with Slipknot. It was like their first album was also like, what is going on here?
See, the Slipknot thing, I really didn't get at first. I mean, I honestly thought it was all gimmicky, you know, the masks and all that. And I remember going to a barbecue back in the early 2000s, and my friend that was driving us to the barbecue, he was playing the first album, the first Slipknot album.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that that's who it was I was listening to, but I was sitting, I'm like, this is incredible. And I remember turning around and asking him, who is this? He said, it's Slipknot. You know, like I should have known that. And I was like, that's Slipknot. And he was
Yeah.
like, yeah, because I never gave them a chance. I just saw these guys in boiler suits with masks.
Yeah.
And I thought, you've got to use masks to get noticed. Use your instruments, guys. You know, like I know everything. No,
Yeah. I remember
Slipknot are
I was
incredible.
back in that day when they just released their first album. I was like on a Roadrunner Street Team. I don't know if you know that back in the day.
Roadrunner, yep.
Roadrunner Street Team.
Roadrunner Records.
Yeah, I know Street Team was
Yep.
actually people just pushing out, like handing out. We got all
Yeah,
these.
like the old samplers, the old sampler
Yeah,
cassettes and stuff.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
You're out at shows and like you just
Yep.
yeah. But it was cool because you got free stuff. You got like, and then I also got like the picture disc from their first album, and I was like, "What is this?" And I remember I went with the car and it came there, and then we had a meeting and it was like, "Yeah, this is a new band called Slipknot. We want to push them on their new release." And I was like, "Okay." And then I heard it in the car, and I was like, "What the flying fuck is going on?" It's insane. And then
Yeah.
from that moment, they're like, "Wow, this band is going to blow up." And further, just instantly, I knew that from the get go.
Yeah.
And they did, and still are. Good
And
band.
they're one of those bands as well, like you guys do with different genres. They're kind of doing something similar,
Yeah,
you know, but it's like they've taken elements of different genres and used it as an instrument,
yeah. Just
you
pushing
know,
the
rather
envelope.
than the actual music, you know,
Mhm.
like the DJ thing and
Yeah,
the keyboards,
and the
you know,
banging,
it's
the percussion drums on the
Mm-hmm.
yeah, real tribal sounding, you know.
yeah. It's like a mix of styles, like from the Sepultura wave.
Oh,
Yeah,
now we're talking.
exactly. It's what happens. That would just put it in the mix. Put some death metal
Yep.
from there and just some maybe little black metal elements over there, and they're just putting it into one big mix and just crushing it and just pounding on it and just
Yeah.
throwing it out again.
I think
Chaos AD.
I
What
think
an
that's
album.
I think that's why we just mosh. That's why we are
Yeah,
getting on mosh, but because it's just mental.
But
pure energy, go. It's like I can understand these guys sometimes just were worn out after a tour, and that Corey Taylor blew his voice multiple times because that's his screams
yeah,
also.
he really pushes himself that way, and
Technique is very,
it's worrying.
but back in the day, he just threw out blood because of all the.
Ooh,
Yeah, he blew his voice like a couple of times, or he get like sometimes the like doctors telling him you should stop singing like that, and but
Jeez.
you can still hear it a little bit in it because he has his scrapey
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah. Yep.
He has a lot more. He uses a lot more technique, so he can like use the voice, but with
Yeah.
technique, so he can make it to the end of the shows and just do a
Yeah.
whole tour. Yeah, well, I really know how it is to lose your voice on a tour. It's not a fun thing.
Oh, it happened to me, and I wasn't even doing metal at the time. It was an old classic rock cover band, and we were doing AC/DC Highway to Hell,
Oh,
and I went to do that last bit that Bon Scott done.
Yeah,
When he goes hell, that bit, just
yeah,
before he does it on the highway to hell, and my voice just broke mid note. I just went, and it's horrible. You just can't lock onto the note, and that was it. I had to just take it easy for the
yeah.
rest of.
We were on tour through Europe, promoting our new album, and we came from England. We played London at the O2, and from the O2 we went to France and played there in Paris. And then that was I already felt like I was getting a little bit sick, really good, and we just an intense show. And then we went to Luxembourg. We had one day off, and I noticed I was getting sicker and sicker, and I was like, "Oh, that's not good." And I lost my voice. I was like, "Ah!" And we had to play in Luxembourg, and I was like, "Oh!" And I tried to sing and try to get myself better, like, and it just didn't work. And then eventually we had to make the call that I wasn't going to do the show,
Yeah,
which was terrible because I had to come out on stage and like, "Sorry guys, my voice is dead." The other end, the guys did a instrumental show, which was for a lot of people like, "Wow, this is a complete new way," and everybody
yeah,
enjoyed that. The band played only without
yeah,
vocals, so a lot
yeah.
of people, "Oh, what the hell?" Only they
Not a
did
lot of
this.
bands would have done that. They would have just cancelled the gig,
mm.
So
Yeah, exactly.
hats off to the guys.
Yeah, and they just shortened the set because like just only hear the instrumentals is not fun for the whole because some songs are really carried on vocals. So they just pushed that away and just put the songs which were most interesting to listen to musically, and then just played 5 or 6 songs per night, and that was okay. And then I think I did 3 shows without like I didn't do 3 shows because I got really sick, and we went to Italy after Luxembourg, and I really felt worse, and it just even a doctor came by to the show just to prescribe me medicine because I was just completely like a dead bird, high fever, and my vocals were gone. And I was like, Jesus Christ, we can't go on like that. And they just gave me cortisones and really, really
Yeah,
heavy medication. And then I was back in 2 or 3 days. And I remember the show. It was in Slovenia. Um, that was my first show doing that again. It was so liberating. I was like, yeah. You just
let rip.
your vocal, you do everything you want to, and no holding back. And it was like, yeah,
Yep,
finally,
yep.
we're back. And then we had a great rest of the tour.